Welcome back, Universe X YouTube. It's Chris, and I'm here once again on a lunch break trying to sneak out and make my content because there are not enough hours in the day. But you know what they say, and I actually don't think anybody says this, but I'm going to say it. It's going to be my new catchphrase. The grind don't stop when you're aiming for the top. And that is what I'm trying to do. So today, we're going to get to the next episode of our Archetype breakdown series. And this time, what we're going for is actually Bojack. I've been waiting for this, but I wanted to not just speak out of my cheeks when I'm talking about these archetypes. So I want to make sure I actually look into them, kind of get a feel for them, play around, and see what's good. So we're going to start with the leader right here, Bojack. Auto once per turn. When a Bojack Brigade card is played in your battle area. I'm sorry, every time I say Bojack, I just think of Bojack Horseman because I've been on a binge and I saw this really weird picture on like the internet, and it's just kind of, look, sidetracked. When a Bojack Brigade card is played in your battle area, draw one card, and this card gets plus 5,000 power for the duration of the turn. When you combo with one of your cards during your turn, if your combo area has two or more Bojack Brigade cards that you comboed with from the battle area, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, KO it, and if you KO'd a card, negate the skill for the duration of the turn. When you're at 4 or less life, flip this card over. So couple things to note, you know, he gets plus 5,000 and draws a card when you play things that you're going to be spitting out every turn. Next, the fact that if you combo with two Bojack's Brigades, you just blow up something on the field that doesn't have barrier. The last part is interesting and kind of saddening. He doesn't untap two, draw anything, untap one, draw one. He doesn't do anything when he flips over. And what he gets for that is permanent. You can combo with Bojack Brigade cards in rest mode in your battle area, much like the TOP Gohan. And then once per turn, when the Bojack Brigade is placed in your battle area, you draw a card, that's still the same, and then he has the same destruction effect. So if you combo and there are two more Bojack people from your battle area to your combo area, very, very precise wording and window, you blow up something, and you can only do that once per turn. So, leader kind of feels a little underwhelming because you draw off of them. Now granted, you don't have to attack, and those are always very cool skills. You don't have to attack to draw because you don't have to give your opponent cards for you to see cards. The comboing with his tapped cards means that you can be very aggressive and still be able to combo defensively, and that's pretty good. So those are the two parts about this guy. And then also on his front, he can harass awakened leaders and makes blocking his unawakened strikes versus unawakened leader very hard because he's just automatically 5k up. So he can really drain the hand like that. Now moving on to the cards, I'm going to kind of go out of order in terms of the way they're displayed, only because I feel like there's kind of a hierarchy to them. The first card I'm going to talk about is Space Pirate Beto. Permanent. You can only have to one Space Pirate Beto in your battle area. When you play this card, and because I'll back up a little bit, all of these guys have the restriction of you only being able to play one of them at a time. So you can assemble the squad. That's actually what this video is called, Crew Love. You can assemble the squad, but you can't double up on squad mates. So permanent, you can only have one Space Pirate Beto in your battle area. And auto, when you play this card, if your leader card is a Bojack Brigade card, look up to the top 5 cards from your deck, choose one Bojack Brigade, add it to your hand, shuffle your deck. But then he also has an activate main, place this card in its owner's drop area, then choose 5 Bojack Brigade cards with an energy cost of 2 or less in your drop area, shuffle the chosen cards back into your deck. So this is it's just pretty interesting, you know? There's a lot of stuff going on here, and he's the search card, but he also can Pot of Avarice without the draw 2 back to your hand. He can recycle. So he's the search and the recycle in one card, and that's a lot. But most of these cards have a coming into play effect and a put this dude off the field effect and goes in. So next we're gonna go over to Space Pirate Boujack. Once again, you can only play one of them at a time. Auto, when you play this card, choose up to one Bojack Brigade card in your hand with an energy cost of 2 or less and play it. When you combo with this card from your battle area, if your leader card is the Bojack Brigade, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and switch it to rest mode. So there's more things about this as well. He's a 1-drop that instantaneously cheats into play a 2-drop, and that is actually crazy. Now, these all have come into play effects. So when you play this guy and then cheat in the other 1-drop, which is not optimal per energy, but when you do it, you're gonna play this guy, play another guy, and search the top 5 cards. And you can activate main to shuffle if that's later in the game, but it's very, very, very interesting. You can combo with this card from your battle area. Yeah, we've already talked about that part. That part's kind of weird because now, you know, there's a lot of cards that just tap things down, but this can open up instances for you to be able to allow strikes to go through. You know, you play this guy, you play another guy from your hand, you swing with one of your weenies, you combo with this, it goes up and you tap something, you can leader swing on something else. There's lots of ways that this can kind of manipulate your opponent's board. Now, the next card we're going to talk about is one of the best cards in the deck, Arrival of the Space Pirates. Activate main, choose up to 1 Bojack Brigade with an energy cost of 2 or less from your deck, play it in rest position. So this really starts lighting up your plays. You could play Arrival of the Space Pirates, and Arrival of the Space Pirates can just drop. Arrival of the Space Pirates can actually just can play the 1-drop from the deck, and the 1-drop can cheat a 2-drop in play. So essentially you have 8 copies of Boujack to be able to start off your combo. So your first turn is always kind of neat because you're kind of putting down more things than sometimes people can deal with. I mean, granted, there's a lot of 1-drops, and 1-drops can do things a lot of times, but it's an interesting amount of just board presence that you can start amassing up with this. Now, moving back to the next part of the tier, or at least the next step for me, we have got Space Pirate Gokua. Auto, when you play this card, if your leader card is a Bojack card, then choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, and it cannot switch to active mode until the end of your opponent's turn. Then activate main 1. Place this card in its owner's drop area. If your leader card is a Bojack Brigade card, then choose up to 1 Bojack card with an energy cost of 3 in your hand and play it. So this dude can be played, mind you, for free sometimes. I mean, he can be cheated out. And we can talk about the cards later because we'll get up to it, and actually I will say that for the end, I'm sorry for that. But he's very, very interesting. He comes down and he just taps down something, a battle card, and it just isn't a factor next turn. And then on top of that, he can summon out some boss cards later, and he's got the dude in his background because that's just how it is. Now you've got Space Pirate Zanya, and mind you, for some reason Goku is the only one that doesn't have the limited to 1 effect. But yeah, now we're gonna move over to Space Pirate Zanya. You can only have 1 of her on the field, and if you play this card, if your leader card is a Bojack Brigade card, choose up to 1 Bojack Brigade card from your deck with an energy cost of 1, play it, then shuffle your deck. Place this card in its owner's drop area. Choose up to 1 Bojack card in the battle area. It gains critical for the duration of the turn. So that's why you can only play 1 Boujack, because you want to be able to play Boujack, play this guy from your hand, and then she will fetch the other 1-drop, the Beto, from your deck and play that. And that's 1 turn with 3 Bojack Brigade on your field. And it all happens off of 1 energy. So it's going to be kind of rough for your opponent to deal with all of that on 1 turn, unless they're playing like, you know, Gogeta and can literally swing on everything in that same turn with the fusions. The point is, though, it's very, 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 very interesting how fast this can flood the board. Now, moving forward from that, we're gonna just talk about the super combo real quick. It's Sparking 5, and this deck can get up to that very easily. You flood the board, you combo with the board. It's made so you can flood the board repeatedly, and the Beto is made so that you can recycle the cards to keep flooding them. So the deck continuously puts the squad on the field over and over and over again. It's susceptible to Kami, but with a card like Beto, you can put the entire squad back in and then just keep going. So that's actually very interesting that instead of having some sort of ignorant, these are indestructible, they just said, okay, we'll just do it again. And the Sparking 5 super combo is a 3-drop, and they specifically did that so that you can't just drop it into play for free or play it out from your deck, things like that. So they changed up the requirement just so you couldn't cheat out the super combo the same way you cheat out everything else. Now, moving up the chain, we've got Space Pirate Bojack. Permanent, if this card would be KO'd, you may instead place 1 Bojack Brigade other than this card into your battle area and from your battle area into your drop area. And then auto, when you play this card, you may choose 1 card in your hand and place into your drop area. If you do, choose up to 1 Arrival of Space Pirates from your drop area and add it to your hand. This is the missing link. 1 First auto is very flavorful. It's literally Bojack from the movie. He sacrifices his minions when he thinks that it's going to save his own butt cheeks, and that's just kind of how it is. But another thing is that you've already seen the put 5 Bojack people back into your deck, Bojack Brigade back into your deck, but now this guy recycles Arrival the Space Pirates, so he is the missing link. Beto can search everything back into, or shuffle everything back into the deck, and then Space Pirate Bojack can actually just come to play and get the Arrival of the Space Pirates, which you can use again to play Beto to cheat Zangya to play, or not Beto, sorry, Boujack to cheat in Zangya to cheat out Beto from the deck, and then you have 3 on the board all over again. Now, we're getting to the bread and butter, the real, well actually all of that was bread and butter. Now we're getting to the SR, Bojack the Plunderer. EXE Evolve for 4, so he's going to be your turn 4 play without a doubt. The whole point of the deck is to tap everything down. And if you've been doing this correctly, then you have so many things tapped that your opponent cannot use. Now Bojack says with an energy cost of 3, he has to evolve onto 1. So turn 4, your opponent almost has to, against this deck, has to pause and not play on turn 3 because his effect is just too devastating to go balls in on turn 3 and not expect to get the crap smacked out of you by this card. When you play this card, if your life is if you have 5 or more life, choose all of your opponent's cards and switch them to rest mode. So they have to fit between a space of aggression to get you below 5 life, and then they have to pause on their 3rd turn, which kind of gives you breath to live. But when your opponent switches one of their cards into auto, when your opponent switches one of their cards in rest mode to active mode, if your leader card is a Bojack Brigade, your opponent chooses 1 card in their hand and sends it to the warp. Activate main once per turn, choose a Bojack Brigade in your battle area and place into the owner's drop area. This card gains dual attack for the duration of the turn. So he will pressure by singleton pokes, but at the same time as pressuring by singleton pokes, he will also be able to rip your opponent's hand to shreds. If his effect gets off that taps everything, your opponent's losing at least, at minimum, 3 cards. 3 cards. Actually, your leader is one of them, so minimum 4 cards if they went first. And if you went first, probably minimum 5 cards. So that's a lot. You have to rush the Bojack deck down below 5 life just because of how savvy that is. And then on top of that, unless they somehow rule differently, on top of that, if you have battle cards, it's even more. So the Bojack deck can gut your hand, and this card will be savage on the field when that happens. So now the only other card to kind of talk about is, even though it's not necessarily, right within the archetype, you can actually play the Bojack Agent of Destruction. When you play this card, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barriers, switch to rest mode. Then activate 2. If this card's in rest mode, choose your opponent's leader card, switch to rest mode. It can't be switched to active mode for the end of the opponent's turn. That card fits directly in here, and he is a Bojack Brigade, so he can be cheated out the same ways that the other ones can, and that's amazing. So you kind of see how this works. The last card I wanted to actually talk about was the Merciless Farewell. It's a 1-cost activate main, or activate battle. Choose 2 cards from your hand and place them into your drop area. If your leader card is a Bojack card, Bojack Brigade card, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode and KO it. So for 2 cards in hand, this is a destruction effect, and it is a -3 because you were losing this card and 2 cards in hand to blow up something. Even if Beto can just whoop whoop everything back to deck, this is still kind of a hefty removal, and I'm not liking it at the moment, but you never know, you never know. So you guys can kind of see the plays. You've got, the 1-drop that gets the 2-drop, the 2-drop that puts a 1-drop from the deck, that 1-drop searches up top 5, that's immediate board presence on 1 energy, and that is very, very unique. You've got the Space Pirate Gokua, who can come out and tap down something, but at the same time, or battle card in rest mode and tap it down for the duration of the next turn. At the same time though, you can pay 1 to play a 3-drop, which could be the Destruction Rare, which can be the normal Bojack, but either way, you play 1 of them and you can EX evolve them onto the next one. So that's actually really, really versatile. There's multiple ways, and between your copies of both 3-drop Bojacks, there's multiple ways to end up at 4-drop Bojack before the turn is over. So, the next turn is over. So I think that that's actually really versatile, and I think that this deck isn't just normal casual Garbo. I think it actually has the potential, because of all of Yellow's defensive cards, to keep you above 5 life, because of Yellow's hate versus tapped cards, because of how many cards in Yellow will just blow up tapped creatures. I think this deck could actually be a control deck. You have all the battle cards you need, and you just need to build a little bit around the battle cards, give it maybe a little more offense, maybe a bigger finisher. But for the most part, you got a lot of things to just completely gut your deck with the battle cards and keep recycling the same. So you might even be able to go a little lower on some of the cards. Like you might not have to do 4 of each 1-drop when you can do 3, 3, and 4 called Space Pirates. There's a lot of different things that you can do with this deck, and I'm very interested to see how people are going to roll with it. So I hope you guys like this video. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I will be rolling in with the next one within the next couple of days. Other than that, keep on keeping on, and thank you guys for visiting Universe X. Peace.